like just so crazy hungry right now. I'd totally use a snack. Wait. What? Where are these coming from? Ah! What? Oh! Where are these coming? Oh my goodness! So many snacks! Woohoo! Yes! Yes!
Hey, Brady. What's going on here?
You got me at a weird time here, Jeb. I was just like really hungry randomly, and then all of a sudden, like these fruit snacks just started falling from the sky, and like I didn't know what, but they're like delicious though.
Brady, that's like impossible. Fruit snacks do not fall from the sky.
Oh, you're kidding me, Jared. You're just hangry, man. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Come on, Jared.
Oh,
Seriously.
Fart.
So good.
Oh, you're right.
No.
It's so good. I'm so hungry. Hey everyone, welcome. It's so awesome to see all of your pretty faces.
Oh, you kidding me? We are having all the fun, and all you are joining in on our craziness.
Craziness, yeah, right. Our craziness? You mean your craziness? Because I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy either. I'm like perfectly calm all the time, Jared.
Yeah, well, did you think that Welch's, like, you thought they fell from the sky earlier, so...
That's because they actually did fall from the sky, Jared.
No, you're just crazy. There is actually no possible way that they could have fallen from the sky because we're inside, Brady.
Well, I guess you're right. There was a cameraman up there. He did, maybe he dropped them on me. But whatever, it doesn't matter because, you know what? They don't drop from the sky.
What?
Candy doesn't drop from the sky.
Fine.
But you know what does, Jared?
What?
Our Trinity Kids values, of course.
Trinity Kids
We're going to
values.
start it off. Why don't you read it with us? First, love Jesus because God is love and loved us first.
Second, love others because God loves all people.
Third, change the world because it's not only about us.
And fourth, have fun because God gives us joy. Man, I will never get tired of living out these values, Brady.
Oh man, I hope not, because they are pretty awesome. And especially like number 4, because I'm all about the fun, if you know me.
All about the fun. Don't worry, everybody knows that you are all about the fun. And for today's story, we're going to be catching up with the Israelites as they try and escape Egypt. Are you ready? Let's do it! Hey, so today's story has us coming straight off of last week where we learned all about a guy named Moses.
And his story was really crazy with some ups, some downs, and some all-arounds. But after a fierce battle with the Pharaoh, God, through Moses, was able to finally get the Israelites out of Egypt.
That's right. They hadn't made it out of Egypt just quite yet, and God still had a plan for them and for the Egyptians. And let's just say people are going to get a little wet.
Oh, right. I'm pretty sure this next part is also action-packed, so I think we should, act it out. So, at any point, the person speaking can say freeze, and at that point, whoever's acting has to freeze. And then they swap, they take each other's poses, get ready, and start from that point. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way. And then he also went ahead of them in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night. And God never stopped leading the people in that way. Okay, freeze!
Then the Lord got Moses to say, go get the Israelites. Go get them and camp by the sea. So he got the Israelites and they went to go camp by the sea. They put up their tents and then they waited. And then Pharaoh started to think, and he was getting a little confused. And he was just like, they're just running around the desert. What's going on? But God had a plan. See, he was going to gain glory for himself through Pharaoh and all of his army. And the Egyptians will know that he is Lord. Freeze!
Okay, after all the people had left, Pharaoh's officials changed their minds and thought, what have we done? We've let the Israelites go and we've lost all their services. So Pharaoh took 600 of his best chariots to chase the Israelites down. The army was on the move. Freeze! Yes.
Wow. As Pharaoh approached the Israelites, they looked up and they saw the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and they cried out and said to Moses, why did you bring us to the desert to die? It would have been been so much better if we had just died in the hands of the Egyptians. Freeze!
Okay, Moses answered the people, and he said, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and the Lord will send us out through the desert. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. And the Lord is for you. You need to stand firm and not freak out." Freeze!
Moses started to get nervous, and he shouted at the Lord, and the Lord said back to Moses, "Why are you yelling at me? Tell the Israelites to go and move on and raise your staff and stretch it out over the water and divide it so that the Israelites can go and walk through the sea on dry ground." Freeze!
Okay, so the Israelites were stunned as the water started to move and the dry ground started to appear. There were fish falling everywhere, and the Israelites had to dodge them as they were running through the sea. Freeze! What? Okay.
I'm dodging. Okay. The Egyptians pursued them, and at the Pharaoh's horse and chariots, all of them followed them into the sea, and they were also dodging fish. And during the night, the Lord looked down, and he saw them, and he's like, "I'm gonna stop you in your tracks." But they tried to run, but it was too late. The Lord got Moses to stretch his hands over the water again, so that the water would flow back over the Egyptians. Freeze!
This unforgettable escape impressed upon the Israelites that God was indeed taking care of them. Enemy horses and chariot drivers were thrown into the sea. The people celebrated and sang joy. And random dance party!
Woo!
Freeze!
The Israelites began to travel through the desert, and after 3 days without water, they started freaking out. Why are we're so thirsty? We're so thirsty! So God showed Moses a piece of wood to throw in some bitter water to make it good to drink. So they continued traveling. 2.5 months after they'd begin just across the Red Sea, they found another way to complain. "We have way better food in Egypt. Why did you take us out to the desert where we can't have what we want? We're gonna starve here, Moses. Why? Why did you bring us out here? They're such a bunch of whiners." Freeze!
The Lord heard the complaining and said to Moses at night that you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. And so at night the camp was filled with quail, which was kind of like a small bird, and in the morning the ground was covered in flaky bread called manna. Freeze! Wow, great.
After this, the community began to trust God and that he would provide for them. Boom.
Boom.
Bible story. Bine.
Wow, Brady, that Bible story was a ton of work. Like, I'm sweaty.
Me too, man. Oh my goodness, I could use some water right about now.
Yeah, me too. There you go. What about you? Have you ever had a moment that is just too good to be true? Like, where everything just worked out, like, in the exact way that it needed to, you know? Like, say you're hungry at school, right? And somebody gives you a snack. Or you joined a sports team all by yourself thinking, I'm gonna be all by myself. I'm not gonna know anybody. And then it turns out you know three people on that team, right? Or even this, you know, like you're at home, your homework's all done, and you're like, what's that smell? It's like, oh, dinner's coming. Like, dinner is on its way.
Yeah, there are so many good things that are just way too good to be true, and this is so obvious in today's story. Like, they're getting chased, and all of a sudden, about the bears, and then they're thirsty walking through the desert, and water is there for them to drink, and then they're hungry, so they get food to eat. And see, all of these moments are out of their control, and yet God is watching over them and providing for them.
That's right. So just as God provided for the Israelites, he provides for you and I in the exact same way. And that's why we want to follow God, because he's given us everything that we need. He created us, loves us, and so he gives us everything that we need. The food that the Israelites got was not just food that they wanted. God gave them exactly what they needed. And God did things the way he did them so that they would come to love and trust him.
Yeah, so here's an example. My parents used to tell me all the time that you get your dinner, and if you don't eat all of it, no dessert for you. And so usually this was no big deal, except one day it was spaghetti. And I'm not the biggest fan of spaghetti, and I don't know why I decided to take a ton, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there at the table smashing the spaghetti and realizing, oh my goodness, there's so much left and I'm not very hungry anymore, and oh no, and then my parents come down with the hammer. You know, I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, they won't remember today, but no, they remembered, and they said, that spaghetti is going to be your dessert. And I was like, this is just the worst thing ever. But yet in that moment, I'm not understanding that they're providing food for me. And that's what they're doing. They're not trying to give me food that I want all the time. They're giving me what I need.
That's right. So just like God provides for us through our mom and our dad with things like food and water and a place to live, God provides us with everything that we would ever need to follow him. So I'd love for you to talk about these two questions together. One, what has God provided for you so that you can follow him?
If you were given things you needed, how would you feel about that? Hello everybody, welcome to Challenge Time. Today we got some pretty crazy stuff going on. We have some floating donuts. And today, if you don't know what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to eat these donuts with our hands behind the back. So Jared, how you feeling about today's
I
challenge?
feel good, except I want to know why you tied my donuts so much longer. Like I can't even reach it.
You know what? Sometimes we're just, people like me, just not as tall. And
That's right.
so we need to get every advantage that we can.
There you go. Did you think your dad was playing this game?
If he was, I'm sure he would have taken this one.
There you
So, more of an advantage. But
Right.
anyways, I think
Okay.
we're ready. You remember, no hands, falls on the ground,
Oh,
you
no
gotta eat
hands.
it. Ready? Here we go.
If it falls to the ground, I have to eat it?
Yes, the donut.
Off the floor?
The game's not over till the donut's gone, Jared. Are you ready?
Okay, ready?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Group B1 with the donut.
Done!
No!
Woohoo! I got it. Dude, that was a fun game.
Well,
The strategy definitely was to rip the donut right off the string.
little hook, line, and sinker, am I right?
Hook, line, and sinker.
All right.
You caught me.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Unfortunately, I'm not challenge winner today, but congratulations to Jared.
There you go.
Catch you
Awesome.
guys next week.
See you next
That was
week.
so much fun.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. See ya.
Peace.
Hey everyone, I hope you've been enjoying your Trinity Kids boxes. This week is actually the last week for this box, so next month's is going to be ready this week, so you'll be so excited to be getting something new just in time for Christmas. But for this week, because we're talking about the Israelites and their escape from Egypt, in K-3, we've got a little maze. You're going to have to help the Israelites escape from Egypt. And then in preteen, we've got this little game. You're going to need your dice again, and you're going to write down several things things that God's already given you. So it could be things like food, it could be things like water, it could be your Xbox, it could be your PlayStation, whatever it is. And then there's some instructions on here to follow the game so that you can see how it all works. And then you're going to be forced to live with only the things that you roll with your dice and have to think through that. And then our favorite part, of course, is the shared experience that you get with the grown-up in your home, so your mom or your dad or grandma and grandpa or whoever that might be. And some of these questions are great opportunities for you to talk about your growing faith with them. So we hope you love it, and we'll see you next week.